come to order. I'm going to ask Commissioner Witt to do the pledge and the prayer.
Let's bow our heads. Lord, we ask special prayers tonight for those in our community who've had an unimaginable loss of family members recently and in the past years. We ask that you put your healing hands upon them and that you comfort them, knowing that they'll see their family members again, and you comfort them in the healing process. I would also like to ask special prayers tonight for my niece Peyton, who came in this world much too early and is fighting to thrive right now. And I would ask tonight also for prayers for everyone dealing with difficult medical diagnoses. It seems like there's a lot of that in this time. I thank you for allowing us to come together in this great republic and do the people's business. I hope that we do it in a way that's pleasing to you. And I hope you put your hand on everybody here tonight, that they travel to and from safe. We always always ask you to put your hands upon our military and first responders, and we'll do that again tonight too. In Jesus' name, we pray this. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? No, sir. None? Okay, we have a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. All right. Jennifer Daniels next.
Good evening, Commissioners. I come to you with good news today. We're going to start with a little video and tell you where we started at. Some of you have seen this, but it's a good reminder. So if you've noticed, the video is a couple of years old at this point, right? If you realize the road is dirt road, it wasn't paved yet, Werner's not quite built out. The important thing and why I bring that up is to remind everyone how in the world of economic development, relationships and partnerships are crucial. So that video was made in 2020. Economic Development Department of FPL reached out and said, hey, look, we're not traveling because of COVID. We have money. We would like to grant the county some additional funding to do some marketing if you're open to it. So we partnered with FPL to build our marketing for the Bell Road corridor, started getting that out to the world so they could see it. Meanwhile, FPL internally has a competitive process going on for a project that they were working on. At the time, we weren't even competing for it. We didn't know anything about it. It was internal search that their real estate team was doing. Economic Development said, hey, look, have you seen this video? They show them the video 2 years later. We're happy to announce FPL will be building Project Illumination at 25A and 41, so south of Bell Road, in between 25A and Bell Road, 54-acre site. It's going to be a hardened facility that will improve hurricane response in not only the state, but in the southeast. 54 acres. They're building a 100,000 square foot warehouse, which is going to include mobile sleepers, restrooms with showers, Other amenities to support crews coming in during hurricane season. 13,000 square foot office building for support staff, office staff throughout the year, not just during peak season. Additionally, a 7,000 square foot storage warehouse to keep everything stored in that particular facility. There's a 2-bay maintenance garage that they'll use to work on their vehicles, service their equipment, so on and so forth. Additionally, they have fuel on site, so they'll be servicing their vehicles, keeping them fueled, getting ready to respond in the case of a natural disaster or hurricane event. So happy to announce this is the Project 21-1 that you approved as an incentive about a year ago, maybe 6 months ago now. It was in October that we asked that we do a tax rebate on this particular property. Plan is to start construction early in 23. And if you have any questions, I've got Carol Savial from FPL. Anything else that she can tell you, or I can tell you, happy to answer questions, but wanted to share with everybody some good news from our world.
One of the things that would happen, go back to Bell Road, where it goes into 25A.
Yeah, that's a good place. Kind of difficult to see in the video.
There it is, there it is.
That'll work.
We see where the Bell Road corridor, that site is. You see where it goes into 25A and then 41 on over. They are working on a grant now to take that road all the way over to 41. So you have all the trucks from Warner Trucking, then you have all the trucks from Follow Power Light coming to that site here on 25A. That railroad crossing will move from there, from where the cat house was, down to this new crossing right here. So that was a straight shot to come through here on 41, go to I-10, from I-10 to 75. So that's in the process now.
Yes.
That Jennifer goes working on to get that road cut through right there.
Yeah, so the challenge right now is tractor trailers can't navigate that small curve right there safely. So Warner goes all the way out this way to the interstate. With this project coming in here, that gives us the additional support we need to get the funding to make this a cul-de-sac and straighten Bell Road out across here to have direct access to 41. So that's in planning now.
How many jobs will this create?
So it's a little different than most economic development projects. We're anticipating about 24 jobs that's created year round. The highlights from this, in addition to the capital investment, the improvements to the property, so we gain the ad valorem tax from that. The other exciting things about this is it alleviates some of the congestion in the inside of the city during these events. Everybody knows that the utility companies gather at the fairgrounds.
Yes.
So this will take a significant amount of that out. It also frees up some hotel space. So you'll have people who are evacuating from north or from the west coming in. They now have rooms that they can stay in. This complex that they're building will sleep. I believe it's up to 450 sleepers that they're putting in the building itself. And it'll serve as kind of the checkpoint for crews coming in the middle of the night, that kind of thing. So this is their home base where they'll receive their orders of where they go and what they do.
And what was the capital investment?
A minimum of about 36 million. They haven't gone out to bid just yet. The project itself is about ready to submit for permits. They have some finalizing to do on their site plan. That's in the immediate future, in the next week or two, I'd say in the next couple of weeks, they'll finalize that. Once that's done, they can go out to bid and we'll have a more firm number on that capital investment, but we're saying a minimum of 36 million.
That's great.
Anything else?
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Florida Pilot.
Very much.
Jennifer Dubose?
I'm Jennifer DeBose tonight.
Not very pretty.
Unfortunately, Jennifer could not be here tonight, so I'm standing in her place. We have a public hearing. This is a public hearing on a request for a final plat.
It's preliminary plat.
Plat. Sorry, yes, it is.
It's okay.
Thank you. I should have pulled out my notes sooner. But anyway, this is in the Windswept Glen industrial subdivision. For those that don't know this is off of Arrowhead Road. It is an industrial subdivision that was originally platted a long time ago. The last lot in the back corner is what they want to subdivide into 7 lots. And this is the preliminary subdivision plot, and we're asking you for a public hearing. It did receive approval from the Planning and Zoning Board.
Okay, I hereby open the public hearing on SD 0200 for Daniel Traps and Windswept Land Trust. Do I have anybody who wants to comment? Come on down. Give us your name and address when you, okay, thank you. It's 2 minutes.
Hi, Terry Rasmussen, 179 Northwest Turkey Creek Way, Lake City, Florida. My question is, we were kind of reading the small print there, and it's very small print, that it also might open the door to subdivisions, making this permit change done, or whatever you call this. And that's my question. Do we know that, if it opens it up? I have it in writing, I sent it to a couple of you. In a very small paragraph that says it could. So I want that to be clear when this is approved and all that it is or it isn't. Because that might make a difference to people. That you're not just building small commercial, you're also side weighting into subdivisions. Residential subdivisions, not commercial. So I don't know, are we clear on that or not? You know, did you ask them?
It says industrial subdivision.
It's an industrial subdivision. You're saying it's going to lead to a,
There's in the agenda, in small print under policy 1.2, future land use map plans shall allocate amounts on mixes of land uses for residential, commercial, industrial, public, and recreation to meet needs to the existing and projected future population and to local urban land use in a manner for public facilities may be provided to or such as urban issues or uses if they need them. That's my
Joe,
question.
The land use and the zoning for this tract of land is industrial.
Yeah.
So there'd have to be a rezoning before any residential uses could be made of the property.
it would have to come back before us. is what
So that
it's saying.
paragraph doesn't really mean that,
Yeah, the proposed use of the property is light industrial, what it states.
but it says that the county's future land use plan map will allocate amounts and mixes of land uses for residential and commercial. I just want to make sure. That's all I'm asking.
Okay,
You're saying
Thank you,
that,
ma'am.
and that's on record.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
thank you. Do we have any more comments? Okay, I hereby close the public hearing.
It's your district, I'll make a
Yeah.
motion for you. Move to adopt.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a
Dave, before you go down, in the future, I think it's pertinent that even though we got Joel sitting here, we do not have another Brandon. And I know Jennifer's doing what she can, but I would ask that any situation like this for the public's defense, we need to have Brandon here, irregardless, what his position is now, until we fulfill that position, because I think he could put it in a lot clearer terms. And I'm not saying Joel muddied it up, but I think Brandon needs to be present until we fill that position.
Unfortunately, Brandon was unavailable tonight as well.
Well, we probably should have tabled this one. Okay.
We did discuss tabling it, and
The issue is because it's advertised separately as part of the application, that fee that's paid by the applicant. So you have a really interesting situation here where the actual advocate for the preliminary plat is the applicant. The things that are handled by Brandon and Jennifer, myself, and David are staff level. And the question that was asked really related more to county policy. But in terms of advocating for the plan itself, that's really the role of the applicant. So probably going forward, we need to ask applicants to be present to answer questions for the board.
Good point.
They do appear, just for the board's information, they do appear at planning and zoning
Yep.
board meetings. But we probably need to go ahead and encourage them to appear here as well.
Thank you, Joe. We have a motion and a second for approval of the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Move to adopt the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for adoption of the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Mr. Kirby.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. We have 4 items for your consideration this evening. The first one is the Small County Consolidated Solid Waste Grant Agreement along with the budget cost analysis form. This is from the DEP and utilized to assist in the cost of litter removal. Grant amount $93,750. I request a motion to approve and execute fiscal year 22-23 Small County Consolidated Solid Waste Grant Agreement in amount of $93,750.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
The second item we have tonight is our CMAR, our construction manager at risk out at the North Florida Intermodal Park. As indicated earlier in the workshop, we're going to try to treat this job like it's similar to our jail project. We have a number not to exceed. So basically, we come and talk to y'all about entering an agreement with this company. We have negotiated that cost. They promised us, assuming we approve this tonight, that the latter part of this, early part of next month, we will have that number not to exceed for your wastewater treatment facility. I'm requesting a motion to approve and execute the construction project agreement with Fort Smith, Inc. to serve as the construction manager at risk for the construction of wastewater treatment facility at North Florida Mega Industrial Park.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Third item is, obviously, we have many generators countywide. We have to maintain those generators on a regular basis. We did receive 4 bids, 37,000, 38,000, 65,000, 72. Recommended motion to approve bid to ACF Standing System in the amount of 37,252.
Move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
The final item I have for you this evening is, a few weeks back, we talked about the construction of a potential community center down at Bethlehem Park. Some conversations got called about Watertown and Columbia City. Staff received direction to ensure in the future that we keep all community centers basically cookie cutter. So we did request approval of a task order with North Florida Professional Services in the amount of $23,700. Once again, to prepare a conceptual building design, and in this case, a site design of Bethlehem for Watertown, Columbia City, and Bethlehem. Upon completion, they will be able to give us that cookie cutter sheet. Approved task order with North Florida Professional Service in the amount of $23,700 is the motion.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And motion passes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Mr. Kraus?
Sound like it. If you fall out, I'm gonna give you mouth to mouth. You did.
first item on the agenda is something we do every year. We want to be part of the Visit Florida official vacation. TDC is asking for you to approve a contract with Miles Partnership LLP so that we can put a full page ad in the Visit Florida official vacation.
Move to adopt.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Second item that I have is the Columbia County Recreation Department reorganization. I just have a couple statements I'd like to say to the board. Last week, I made a decision to relocate the employees of the Columbia County Recreation Center to allow time for the county to review the mission and reorganize the department. The former setup of the department was simply not working. Employees were working against each other and not towards common goals. Many of the people were treating it as the Richardson Recreation Department rather than the Columbia County Recreation Department. This infighting and this confusion resulted in poor compliance with county policies. It has become very clear the Richardson Community Center needs to follow the same operations, rules, and procedures as all other community centers. County Resolution 2020-R27 and 2022-R26 must also be complied with at the community center by the board. When established, the Richardson Community Center had a different set of bylaws and a mission from other community centers. This has led to confusion and inconsistent application of county policies over the years. By separating the recreation department from the community center, we've begun correcting the relationship with the community center board and making it mirror other community centers. We have met with representatives of the board to ensure that our programs continue. The county is not walking away from the Richardson Community Center, and we will continue to support, maintain, and develop the historic site. The recreation director is now located at 1486 Southwest McFarland Avenue in a building the county acquired from the city for recreation offices prior to COVID. The sports marketing director is assisting him through the reorganization period in an effort to keep all of our current programs operational and ongoing. The department will be evaluating the county's role in sponsoring sports leagues such as football, basketball, pickleball, things we've talked about over the past few years, as well as assisting the existing parent-run leagues. The county will continue to offer our programs at the Richardson Community Center as well. The Recreation Department manager, office manager, has now been reassigned to the county annex to assist with the CDBG grant for the Richardson Community Center and improve the financial management of the recreation department. Custodial services are being transferred to the facilities maintenance department in the interim so that we can guarantee that the facilities are still kept up and maintained on a regular basis. Restrooms cleaned on a consistent basis. Most of the recreation aides have been reassigned, some to Public Works, some to the county extension. All of the phone numbers the public has always used for the Richardson Community Center, whether it's the director, the office manager, the center itself, stay the same. Because we have the telephone system we have, those telephones and those numbers are portable. So if you wanted to call the office manager, you can call her and she'll still have the same phone number. If you want to call Mr. Kopic, you can call him, he'll still have the same number, just in his new location. I want to be clear. This reorganization is not a response to concerns expressed by a few about our Recreation Department's director's abilities or job performance. In the beginning, Mr. Kopic organized and established the Richardson Community Center Board. Since 2016, when he had his medical condition, Mr. Kopic has, one, supported and expanded pickleball and cornhole tournaments. He has worked to have outdoor courts resurfaced, expanding recreational opportunities for our youth. He has supported youth football and basketball and assisted these leagues in their operations every year. He has continued to offer summer camps and expanded the summer camps to Fort White. He has established a community garden. He has developed the first master plan for the community center so that you know in the future how they want to see the property developed and grow. And he has worked with the Partnership for Strong Families to develop the North Star Community Resource Center, which provides resources within the community. In addition, under Mr. Kopic, the Richardson Community Center has received a $500,000 historic preservation grant for the renovations of the whole old classrooms that are out there. And the site has been officially recognized as a historic site by the state of Florida. Finally, the Richardson Community Center is becoming the only emergency shelter in the city of Lake City, and not because of you funding the generator and allowing us to make it an emergency shelter, which is not currently available to our residents of Lake City. But in general, Mr. Copic has demonstrated his continued ability to run the program. We look forward to Mr. Copic bringing success and recreation to programs across the county. We will continue to protect our employees from harassment. It is never acceptable to harass an employee in their offices about their protected status, period. Unlocking doors is not unreasonable. It's done in other county locations, such as the courthouse annex, for other people. The continued attempts to malign Mr. Copic and the department are simply not substantiated. In the Florida Crown harassment claim, staff separated the individuals, called Florida Crown, who was their employer, and held a conference call with the families, Florida Crown, and the Recreation Department. Florida Crown conducted an investigation into the situation. County staff members did not report this to Human Resources or management for 3 days. When they did, the county immediately began a second investigation. This was not publicly reported because we want to protect the identity of the teenagers involved. It's not fair to the teenagers for us to drag them publicly. As for the proceeds from the cake sale, this was a Richardson Community Center, not a county-sponsored event. It appears that some authorized county staff members did review the county security footage and reported it to the community, not to me or the community center board. The video has been provided to the Lake City Police Department and is part of their investigation into the incident. And it has been referred to the community center board. Again, this was a community center board activity, not a county activity. All of the controversies demonstrate and support the need to separate the recreation department from the community center itself. Finally, the decision to trespass was my decision. It was not the Board of County Commission's decision. You were all informed by me after the decision was made. The board did not pressure or coerce my decision. The county attorney did provide advice. However, I am strongly opposed to harassment of any employee or people with disabilities, period. As the harassment has continued since the trespass had not been lifted. Now that Mr. Copic's office has been moved, it has been transferred to Mr. Copic's office. Therefore, it is no longer applicable to the Richardson Community Center. Having said all of this has made it clear for the need for the next item on our agenda, which is to adopt an ordinance on trespassing that allows due process and a right for people to request review of any trespass that's issued. We trespass at the library frequently. We trespass at other places. We trespass at the extension center. So this is something that we do. We want to make it much more legitimate, cohesive practice, policy approach.
I have a public comment on
Wait.
You're not moving to-
Hold a minute. David, you're not finished. You gotta tell where we going from Richardson, from moving Mario, athletic department from Richardson, the operation of Richardson. This is what people wanna know. This is what I've been telling people, how we going to run Richardson, and it's gonna be better ran. So let's hear that part of it also.
Well, our plan is to make the Richardson Community Center operate like other community centers, so that the community center board will be operating the community center. That includes, they will be staffing it, they will be helping it, we'll still be able to run our programs from there. I'm not sure what you're asking. So the operation
Can I-
of the Richardson Community Center should stay the same, except that the people operating it are the community center board. Richardson Community Center Board.
We have a public comment. I want to get him in. He's wanting to talk. Can I let Mr. Perry talk, or you want to go first?
Maybe I can
Okay.
answer some of his questions.
All right, go ahead. Okay.
David, you didn't go deep enough on the final version of what's gonna happen. We had a meeting on Tuesday,
Yes.
and here what was decided on. That the recreation department would stay independent, but work with the Animatics, Richardson Animatics Board. The Board of County Commission will fund the 6 positions that they have asked for. that means that give us 2 more people at Richardson than there under the old regime. The building the center will stay open from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. All the people that will be working there would not be there at the same time at one time. When school is in, 2 additional people will be coming on to take care of the school crowd kids when they come. The president of the Richardson Community Center had said that he want to revamp his board of directors and put some younger people on there with some younger ideas on how the program should be ran, so more young people, and especially females, can be part of the complex itself. That is the direction that we're going, and I think that's the most important part that you're leaving out.
Well, yes, that is the direction we're going. The budget for that will be on the floor budget.
Yeah.
For your consideration next week.
They will, the Recreation Department board will be interviewing and hiring their own employees. They will not be county employees.
Correct.
Okay.
And they'll be hired through a staffing chief.
Okay.
And then we, as the county, will focus on providing countywide recreation, like the leagues, and supporting the leagues that we already have.
Yeah.
Ron, you finished. Mr. Perry, do you still have any questions or? Just come on up. Come on up, Mr. Perry, and tell us your name and address, and you don't need address? Okay.
184 Northwest Baskin-Robbins Drive. My concern was, Mr. Burkdale, is the kids at when the recreation center, a lot of kids would come there in the morning, early in the morning, or when school was out early in the morning, and we would govern them, and we had patience for them when they need tooling and all that did. I want to know, will this still be taken care of? Especially, when I was there, when the kids come get ready for school in the morning, school started, the bus come in and stop. What I did was come there and open up, bring them inside. When the bus comes, get them out there for the bus. If it was raining, I brought them inside, get them out there for the bus. It's all about the kids in that community. This is what Richardson is all about. In that community, we took care of the kids. If we don't do that now, there's already a lot of shooting going on already. So that's why we try to save as many as we can through the recreation center, get them there and train them and whatnot. I wonder if we're gonna keep that up.
Harry, I'll assure you, under the new setup of of Richardson, there's gonna be more activity for young people than it have ever been at that center. And that's what's important, the young people. Yes, sir.
Due to the fact, a lot of people didn't know Richardson exists. Pickleball people, I had to let them know that they were asking me how old the building was, and I told them, built in 1960. And they asked me, why it's so clean? I said, we would double take care of what we got.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, Mr. Perry. Thank you very
Mr. Perry
much.
used to work for us and was a very, very good employee. And,
They might need you back down there, Mr. Perry.
but he's right. The goal of this is not to cut services or reduce services, but to make them more responsible by having the people that run the community center make sure the service is provided. So yes, we want to still support the kids. Mr. Perry's right. That's very important. In discussing it with the community center, we told them this is not the county abandoning the community, quite the opposite, trying to make it better.
It's gonna be more efficient. You done, Mr. Kraus?
I
Any more
am.
questions? Mr. Form? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Excuse me, we're all gonna cough for a little bit. So
Robbie's giving us the
Now you.
in follow-up to one of the comments Mr. Kraus made as part of his presentation, as we've dug a little deeper into the notion of the county trespassing citizens from public property, from county property, there's a 14th Amendment implication for procedural and substantive due process. And we don't have to do law school tonight, but let me just tell you that's something federal judges pay attention to. And so we did a little research on what other counties are doing, and what they've done is created an appeals process to ensure that citizens' 14th Amendment rights are protected. And that's what the proposed ordinance that you have here that I'm asking for an adoption hearing for is all about. It specifically delineates the things that can result in a trespass. It explains how trespasses will go, when warnings will be issued. And most importantly, under Section 8, creates the appeals process. I want to be clear because there is some confusion about the way the language is. Only the appeal itself is reported to me. I will not be the hearing officer for appeals. That would be the role of the magistrate. So while you see county attorney show up in here, it's really just for purposes of knowing where to file your appeal. So you file it with the county attorney, it then becomes the county attorney's obligation to make sure you get a hearing, okay, in a timely fashion. But the county attorney doesn't conduct the hearing officer does. If there's any questions at this point, I'll be happy to entertain them. But the purpose of the agenda item is to request the adoption hearing be set for September 20th at the specially scheduled Tuesday meeting.
First of all, I want to say something and thank somebody that's in the crowd, because, you know, this is new. A lot of this stuff's new. It's new law all around the state, these trespass warnings. And I was apprised of this by a fellow that's in the, Butch Bochet called me and said, you know, you got to do a trespass. It was just good to hear from somebody in the community that knew a little bit more about this than I did. And I think that's really how it kind of got kicked off. I went to David and I said, David, we have to give a way to do this from top to bottom. And there's some counties that are really on top of it. So I want to say I appreciate that, him getting with me and telling me that. So I appreciate it, because we don't want to violate anybody's rights. We need to make sure we have everything correct and lawful. And I know Joel will take care of it for us. That's all I want to say.
Well, in my review of it, I called Joel just for clarification. I think he touched on that just a minute ago, because as the only elected county attorney in the state of Florida, I personally felt like Joel was stepping into, when he didn't have to get into it. I don't know why I'm looking out for him. Daddy's right back there. But anyway, but he straightened me out pretty quick that, it was just the notification part of it.
Mhm.
And I'm good with that. But I do have my eye on Doc. I'll keep an eye on for you, okay?
Again, Mr. Chair, just asking for the motion to set the adoption hearing for the 20th September so I can advertise it.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next item is on the agenda. I was approached by the sheriff's office and Major Katina Dix. I'm sure you guys know her. We have an older set of codes that govern sex offenders and sexual predators in Columbia County. And what they've identified at the sheriff's office are some places where there's conflicts between what state law says we have to do and what the county code was saying the sheriff's office had to do. And so we worked together and tried to harmonize the code. There are places where we were, quite frankly, a little less restrictive. A good example is temporary residence. We were saying you had to stay somewhere for 15 days before it became a temporary residence. State says if you're anywhere for 3 days, that's a temporary residence. That's important because that affects your reporting criteria. So that was a place where they were having a conflict. It's just an example of the different clarifications. It's a strike and add ordinance. It's pretty easy to read and understand. If you have any questions about it, of course, you can ask me. But the purpose of this agenda item is, again, to ask for an adoption hearing for September 20th.
Joel, in y'all's conversations, what was the relevance to like recreational parks, the ball fields and?
Yeah, so we were defining parks in a certain way, and the state statute, again, that was a place where our definitions were out of whack. We were saying just public areas. The state statute actually says public and private areas where children regularly congregate. So you can see where the state is actually a little more restrictive than we were.
Gotcha.
And so that, if you imagine it from an enforcement perspective, you go out into the community and you identify a sexual predator in a private park. Under state law, they're not supposed to be there. But under our code, they weren't doing anything wrong. So that's where the sheriff's office, I mean, you guys know, you understand law enforcement when they're out there, they want clear direction. They want to know what they're doing, and they don't need those kind of ambiguities.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. Do we have any open public comments to the board? Come on down. You next. You got 2 minutes and a little beeper will go off. And when it does, you got a few more seconds to
Okay,
close it up.
thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Tammy Henson, and I live at 288 Southeast Lindale Glen, Lake City. I'm here because there was a changeover in our water system. I've been out in that area for 17 years. So the first approximately 12 years was good. We had great water. We had a great management. We had a family-owned management that would come themselves and check our meters. It was always very easy to deal with. I would personally go make my payment at the home of the management. And there was times they even helped me out because I was a single mom. The homes in this area, many of them are built through rural development. With that being said, they're a lower income and they're based on income. So I don't even know how this happened with the whole switchover, but now we have a water management that is through Small Ridge is his name. And they're down south, about 2.5 hours away. Okay, so since he's gotten this management, we've had times where we've been without water, which never happened before because there was a generator that ran our water. Even when the lights were off, we still had water. This guy is not easy to deal with. In fact, I can't get a phone call back from him. I've called their office. The lady that answers the phone is rude. They charged me $400 and I've got the bills here. I've got bills back from 2005 through now sporadically, just to show they've doubled since they've owned, not owned, but they're like holding the system for now, and they've doubled the gallons, the amount per gallon. So I just need you guys to check into this if you would. Like I said, there's families out there that they can't afford this, and whenever they charge me the $400, they would not work with me. I had to figure out myself what happened. Okay, I had to figure it out, and whenever I called her back, I pled with her, please look into this. My water's not leaking. I have not used that much water. And this is a necessity, you guys. So
Thank you very much, ma'am.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Yes.
This is your commissioner.
So-
He's gonna probably answer your question.
So this is all tied up in the Hill property dispute with Swanee River Water Management. Big mess. We, hope we've solved it the best we can. He's still got legal action going, but at least we hope we've got a path for, him to get his property back in the end. But, the receivership was brought in at a time where we had to bring somebody in. The county was not in the utility business at the time. And I've heard these complaints. We were kind of hoping maybe the Hill legal situation would work itself out and the utility would be returned to Lance. And, that's, just dragging on and dragging on. It's not going to happen. So I've heard me and Lance actually talk about this a lot. I've heard a lot of complaints recently. And, in my opinion, board, at the time we had to put this in receivership, we didn't have an option because we weren't in the business. We're in the business now. Rocky and I are on your utility committee. We have said we're going to provide utilities countywide where we can. And it's time to relook at this and take this under the county. I can personally say, we've had county public works have to go out there and fix broken pipes for him because you couldn't get a hold of him. I've heard nothing good. I've heard nothing but complaints. And, it's time to put this on an agenda. and take this back, I think.
Okay, well, I got somebody just ahead of you, but you want to do a public comment? Okay, I have somebody ahead of Mr. Warren. Okay. Okay. Come on down, ma'am. And then you'll be next. Okay.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Curtis. I live at 410 Southeast Fay Lane. I'm on the water with Jeffrey Hill. I don't understand this whole thing. Not one homeowner from all this time has been notified to come to any kind of meeting in what's going on. Mr. Hill he was giving us water at a nice rate, and now these companies, all these people over there are complaining of $600 and $700 worth of bills in water. We can't afford this. We can't afford this. You guys need to get this straight. This has been going on too long.
We're gonna fix it.
We need to fix it soon.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Come on down. Yes, ma'am, you can be next.
My name is Terry Rasmussen, 179 Northwest Turkey Creek Way, Lake City, Florida. 2 minutes. Okay, here I go. First of all, I found the turnaround to be real interesting and very useful. So I want to thank you, whoever, the turnaround we have on 41, it's
Yeah.
working, I think. And
It is working.
I'm very surprised, so I'm going to be quick with that. I'm done. Second thing, I just want to know, and all I'm asking is, and I thank everybody for your patience and your time with me and other people in the neighborhood, where we're at with our meetings. That's all I want to know, with the meetings that's been going on about our neighborhood, where we're at with the developers, and are we working at all with them? Is anything happening? And I just want to know if you could respond.
We, as I spoke with you before the meeting, and to be honest, I told you what happened, that when I asked Kevin when we were gonna have the meeting, he made contact with the individual that hadn't anything been done. So Kevin took it up on his own to go out and get the prices, what it would take to correct the issues out there.
So we are moving forward in some direction.
Yes,
correct?
ma'am, and
As
he
hurricane
shared
season's
with me during the break of our meeting that he have those prices now, and he's working on setting up a meeting with the people, all the principals involved, to sit down and discuss that, and then we will have a meeting with you guys.
All right, one way or the other, we're going in some kind of direction, right? As we're getting into the heaviest season of the year.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
One way or the other, we're moving in some kind of direction, correct? As
Yes.
we're getting in the heaviest season of the hurricane time and all that.
Yes, ma'am. As Commissioner Williams indicated, we have received, I say we, the developer / contracts has received a price from a contractor to do corrective measures that relates to all the swells, the ditches, the side drains, the culverts, entrance to the driveways. I think our final big hurdle to cross is the corrective action on the ponds themselves, as you're aware of the pumps, et cetera. So to answer your question, it is moving forward. We basically have all the information now, with the exception of the ponds. With the permission of the developers and the contractors, I'm hoping that we'll be able to invite you folks to a meeting immediately, but we do have to have one more sit down as it relates to the ponds. So we do have accurate information to share with you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Okay, I got the lady in the blonde hair. Right there, you, yeah. I don't know y'all's name. Okay, come on down. You couldn't understand?
Yeah, but just follow to the front.
Come on
Follow
down.
to the front. Sit, follow to the front.
So, I'm here for the same thing that was spoke about with Tammy Henson, and that is the management of Lance Water, which was given over to receivership, I think is what it's called. Sort of sounds like Brittany, but anyway, I find the man extremely unhelpful. I've had arguments with him. He's been very rude and unprofessional to me. I know that there was a time where our water was off and they couldn't even reach the person who was supposed to be in this area to come and fix it. So my spouse, who is a a wastewater and water engineer, went up and personally fixed it, just like that. And then there was a big stink about that because he had trespassed. So, you know, you have to decide whether it's important enough to have someone that you can trust and deal with your problems with someone who is in South Florida, who it makes me really upset that our money is going out of the county when there are plenty of people here that are qualified or could qualify to do the same job. And I would prefer to see it go back to Lance or even Jeffrey Hill, because I never had a late fee. I never had, let's see, I believe I've noted here that the base fee, the fee to be just hooked up to that water went from $26.88 in 2018. I didn't have any of my records before that, to $31.77 now. That's just to be hooked up to the system. That's not the water you use. We never paid that. So therefore, many times my water consumption has been less than the amount that is required to hook up to the system. So I'm just saying that I think the money should stay in Columbia County, and that I personally know, because I did a survey a few years ago, that the majority of the people in our neighborhood, which is small, 2 streets, and most people are very unhappy.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Oh, yes, Sonia Yarbrough, Y-A-R.
Sherelle lives in that neighborhood.
Now, we had some more public comment. Which one of y'all, she's first, come on. Ladies first.
I am Nancy Turner. I live at 123 Northwest November Court in Lake City. And I just wanted to make a quick response to Kevin, because the situation at Woodborough North, he mentioned that there's going to be one more meeting before he meets with us. And in a conversation with Mr. Kraus the other day, he mentioned something that in regard to the ponds, I just wanted to be considered in the conversation that you're going to have about the ponds, is the idea of a recharge well that we talked about that they have at Lake Harris. Would that be a possibility of a solution for the ponds at Woodborough North? I just want to bring that up.
Yes, ma'am.
Since you're going to meet about the ponds before you meet with us. All right.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Mr. Kirby.
the challenge is you have a unique situation with the permit approved and the design it was approved under. To get a modification to that permit, I don't think it's impossible, but it's a laborious act. And right now, the true ownership and responsibility of the ponds are in question. I was told earlier today that I am in receipt of an email that should clear up those questions I had as it relates to what I just said. Upon review of the email, as I indicated earlier, that will result in a meeting. The first step I have to understand is who is the true responsibility party of the O&M for the pond, the pumps, et cetera. We know the ownership today, right away to right away. We understand that Columbia County is the O&M entity on the right of way point to right of way point. Columbia County is not the O&M as it relates to the pond, nor the pump. I'm still confused. I've been told verbally that I have now in writing to unconfuse me who is the O&M entity as it relates to the pond. So once I digest that, as indicated, we'll have a meeting, and I hope to have all our facts then. And then I feel comfortable saying the homeowners should be able to attend once we have all our facts together.
I understood that. I just wanted, since you're going to have a meeting about the ponds, to just mention that. I hadn't heard of a recharge well before our conversation last week with Mr. Kraus, and so that sounded like, well, I don't know what that entails.
Thank
You
you.
know, be honest with you, that's the biggest mess I have seen in the 40 years that I've been a county commissioner in your neighborhood.
Isn't that nice?
I have never seen a quagmire like this.
It's bad.
It walked
It is
like a
bad.
duck, it squawked like a duck, and here's a big mess up duck.
Yeah. Well,
So we are trying to work through it with you guys.
yeah, I appreciate that so much. I really do. I know y'all are working for us and to help us
And I know it's stressful. It's so stressful because you got a home and you're trying to live there and you got water problems, a bad storm comes. It's as stressful as anything you'll ever go through.
It doesn't make sense. You got a brand new subdivision, a brand new home, and it floods already. And we haven't had but just a little bit of rain.
Yeah. Well, you know, I know I'm past my time. I just, in a sense.
Well, you're talking to me now, so.
Yeah, you can talk all you want to him.
Oh, okay.
He's been here since 23, so he,
In a sense, I feel almost that it's, you know, of course, unfortunate that we bought into this mess blindly. But at least, you know, myself and Terry and another woman in there, Donna, we've done a lot of homework and digging, and at least we were able to bring it to the forefront to help change things. I mentioned earlier that, you know, that this is going to precipitate some rule changing or whatever, you know, some more oversight as far as things. And that's not to sound critical at all, but if that's the reason that, you know, I ended up buying in the subdivision to exact changes, positive changes for the public, then so be it.
Amen.
Okay, thank you.
But we on your side.
I know.
thank you, ma'am. Big guy with the beard in the back.
That's Walton.
Make sure he gets his address.
54 Southwest, LOUIS, Glen.
Hit that microphone up just a little bit. You're pretty tall. There you go.
4 years ago, I asked County Road Department to maintain my little road. It's Lewis Glen, 1,100 feet long, little road, single lane. Asked them 6 months later, still no maintaining of the road. Asked Mr. Kirby to maintain the road. 6 months later after that, asked him again. Then 6 months later after that, I asked Mr. Ford.
What is your road?
Lewis Glen.
Lewis Lane?
Glen. Yep.
Where's this at?
Harwick. Little dirt road. It's only dirt road within a mile.
Oh, little dead end road.
Yeah, little dead end road.
Yeah, it's on the grading schedule, right?
No. So it's been graded once since March, St. Patty's Day. So I'm trying to get them to continue to maintain the road. Easy way to pave it. Me and my wife do not want it to be paved. We like our little dirt road. But everybody else on my road kind of wants to be paved.
Well, I'll check into that, but that should be on the grading schedule.
Yes, sir. I can't answer.
They park right there at Lake Jeffrey.
Yeah, I know. I've called it in 2 or 3 times to grade it, yeah.
Pine Mountain. So
Yeah.
just trying to get them to grade it. So it's not the big deal, you know, but.
You haven't called me in over a year about it, right?
Yeah, it's been, I think yours, last time I talked to you was August of last year.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been 4 years now,
So the road hadn't been graded in how long?
since March.
Mr. Chair.
It was graded on, July 26th, I believe. But since then, it hasn't been graded. It's supposed to be graded, I think, every.
Get the chairs.
Well,
But yeah.
we're on about 11, 12-day grading schedule.
But before that was March.
Yeah.
So,
Mr. Kirby, go ahead.
Sir, let me ask you a question. If my memory's serving me now. Is there potentially somebody on that road that also calls the road department and does not like it graded?
he's dead.
Okay. Your problem could be fixed. That was the issue.
Wait a minute now. Let's make sure we take care of whatever this man needs.
Jeff took care of that.
I got you. So Commissioner Ford, for your education, this was a road of a lot of contention. And every time we went out there to grade the road, your father-in-law, you say?
My grandfather-in-law.
Your grandfather-in-law threatened to shoot us. So now that he's passed, we'll grade your road. How about that?
Thank you, buddy. Damn, you can't make that up.
Used to be a good neighborhood till Jeff showed up.
All right, did I have any other public comment? Any other public comment?
I can't wait to call walk
All right.
down tonight.
Do we have any staff comments?
No, sir.
Just one. We've been approached by I think it's the quarterback club of CHS about the possible interest in helping them on the new scoreboard. They're looking for a potential contribution. I just found out about it. They weren't able to be here tonight, but I did want to bring it up to see what the board's thoughts were.
Say that again, they're wanting money for what?
Zach reached out to myself also. If you, Mr. Tunsil, Laramie Tunsil, donated, I think, some $160,000 for a new scoreboard. And, but, you know, it takes electrical and everything else. And it's my understanding the school board has set forth $10,000 towards that. They were asking for, they needed 26,000. And it's also come to my attention that the old school board has been dedicated to hopefully end up at the high school at Fort White. And
So we get the hand-me-downs again.
that's what the story.
Yeah.
Not unless Laramie write a check for another 160,
Yeah.
but anyway, that's Zach reached out to myself and of course David, and then so basically what they're doing, they're asking. I don't know about the
Ain't that
dates,
something?
David. Yeah,
I
but
think
the,
y'all-
I can't even believe Tim said that in a public meeting.
I'm telling you the truth, because I feel like Fort White will need, you know, but somebody in Fort White requested it. That's all I know, right?
I don't know how many millions we
So
But I
think-
don't know that they, you know, anyway, I think the gesture was great by, how that wasn't figured into the equation. I don't know, but you know, Laramie did what he done and, it was a great contribution to the community, but,
So I think they're
that's-
meeting the funds in September. And I don't know that they'll be able to, they might be able to come to September 8th meeting, but they may need funds sooner.
Well,
But before I could do anything, I wanted to see what the board thoughts were.
I'm just telling y'all know. There again, I've said this before in a meeting, if you open up this avenue, you're gonna have Fort White Quarterback Club coming want money, you're gonna have baseball coming want money. I mean,
We did this.
I've said it before, I'm not in support of spending tax dollars money for that kind of program.
I agree with you, Commissioner Ford. I think if we do this, if we do things like this, we need to do it countywide or don't do it at all. And I mean, I don't think we had the resources to do that, but we make this mistake in so many areas where we concentrate on one and then, you know, mine and your districts get left out.
But my district is up all the time. I don't even get a hand-me-down, do you? I don't even get a hand-me-down.
Well, we ain't spent but
So
$50
don't
million
go that road.
in Fort White this year.
do what?
We spent $50 million in Fort
Oh,
White this
exactly.
year. Golly. Okay, I agree with y'all. You know, we had that, didn't they ask last year about that? And
Yeah.
we did the same thing. It's just not a good use of taxpayer dollars. Like you said, it's a good use. It's a good thing. It's just, if we start
Well,
doing
here-
that, we're
here's-
gonna have to keep on doing it. And
Chairman, if I may, what we said last time, if we want to give the school a donation towards sports and let them distribute it how they want to, I might support that.
To just the school system.
Yeah, not to a single program.
Yeah. And they could disperse it. Yep.
But I would want them to be fair with it.
Rather than just one entity or what have you.
Give it to all the sports.
But I mean, that's something we'd have to look at. I don't, that's something, I don't know if we even want to do that really. But you can't just reach out to one program at a school and say, we're gonna give them money. Because you open the door for every program at the school come on money.
We done that with track. Remember, we done that with the race track, the track, going around the track. Yeah, I got in trouble doing that, not legally trouble, but I spent $100,000 rebuilding the football field. And then the basketball team said, well, you done this. The track team said, you done this. The weightlifters say,
I
you
remember
done
that.
this for football, but you're not doing it for us. So you cannot, I learned my lesson. You just can't do it for one individual sport.
I agree.
Okay, do we have any updates from the county manager?
No, that was it.
Commissioner comments?
I got one.
Go ahead, Mr. Witt.
I thought I was done being mad at Swanee River Water Management for a little while, but, you heard the comments from my district in regard to the water system tonight. And, that's just another symptom of that big problem. They egregiously pursued Jeff, and now here we are 15, 20 years later, and these guys are paying for it. Private, I understand it was a private water system, not much we could do, but to do what we did at the time. But this also goes back to our workshop. Any doubts on why we need to be in the utility business? Look at those people out there. And so, we're going to take this on. I don't know. I know it's still technically a private system. We'll have to work with Joel on how we work that out. But regardless, I'm going to do my part to get Small Ridge out of y'all's lives.
We all help.
But with these issues, I think it needs to be, Commissioner Witt, it needs to be a top priority. Because, I mean, I've never heard of a bill such as that she showed me earlier. Water, that's ridiculous. I mean,
All right.
Motion for adjournment?
Any more commissioner comments? Motion for adjournment?
I make-